Gnoblars, the true pick-me girls of Warhammer. A pick-me girl is a girl who goes out of their way to impress boys and make them seem that they're not like other girls, kind of like a simp, but for girls. But when you see one, you'll know. Usually, they do this to be accepted by boys and considered one of the good ones. Now, how does this correlate with Gnoblars? Well, to understand that, we have to look at Gnoblar history and culture. Gnoblars are larger, furrier goblins. So starting off, not the nicest chaps. Early on in their history, they were enslaved by the Chaos Dwarfs, a fate so cruel that when they finally managed to escape back out into the world, and when they met the ogres and their great big jaws, they took to them like flies, to an overripe piece of dung, doing anything they could to please said ogres. With time, traditions arose, where an ogre who might like a Gnoblar more than the rest would mark them, a bite on the ear, like the mark you might give a cow or a sheep, so people might know who this Gnoblar belonged to. The mark now. Why would a Gnoblar want to be marked, you might wonder? Well, being chosen by an ogre gives you protection and status, for who would dare harm Grabby Flap's Gnoblar? Well, not another Gnoblar. Maybe an ogre, however. Now, this might not seem too bad, but when you consider that the ogres ate many of the Gnoblars, not all, of course, for the ogres found the Gnoblars rather stringy and not so tasty. Consider some of the many games the Gnoblars were made to play for the ogres. Run Sprint, a game where the weak, sick, and injured are made to run death races, sometimes even inside the Great Maw. Gnoblar Bowl, where an ogre throws some scraps of clothes, maybe even a helmet, into the midst of a group of Gnoblars who will fight to the death, scratching and clawing for any bit of aid such an item might grant. This game in particular has gained a lot of favor with both ogres and Gnoblars alike. It is now often held after a feast, and many Gnoblars vie for the chance to participate. For maybe if they do well, an ogre might choose them, and for the ogre, it is great sport to watch and bet on. Life is looking a bit more dreary, so what if an ogre isn't going to choose you? Your nose isn't long enough to smell out the enemy, your ears just a smidgen too short to hear the footfalls of an approaching foe. Maybe you're even too big, so the ogres might think you tried to start an uprising of Gnoblars. What can you do to get that ogre bite? Well, some Gnoblars just carve out chunks of their ears hoping it looks like an ogre bite. Others might collect the heads of fallen ogres to use as a marking tool. The most foolhardy, however, sneak into ogre tents and dangle their ears over the sleeping ogre. I bet you can guess what happens to the most of them. A midnight snack. A Gnoblar will shun and harm other Gnoblars just to be accepted by the ogres. So they, in their own way, are pick-me's. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye!